In a mountain village, there lived an old farmer named Haruki. He was known for his kindness, always the first to help, sharing food with the hungry, repairing roofs after typhoons, and comforting those who had lost loved ones. Haruki believed in one rule: do good and it will come back to you. One day, a stranger arrived in the village. His clothes were dusty, his face weary, and his eyes filled with sorrow. He knocked on Haruki's door, and without hesitation, the old man welcomed him, offering him food and a place to rest by the hearth. During dinner, the stranger spoke thoughtfully. "Haruki-san, I can see that you are a kind man, but tell me, have you ever received kindness in return for your good deeds?" Haruki smiled. "Of course. I help others because I know that one day, if I am in trouble, people will help me." The stranger lowered his gaze. "Be careful. Sometimes kindness can lead to misfortune." With those words, he left. Haruki pondered his warning, but quickly dismissed his doubts. After all, how could a good deed ever lead to harm? One day, Haruki's neighbor, the widow Oki, came to him. She pressed her hands together in a pleading gesture and said, "Haruki-san, you are a kind man. Please help me plow my field. My son is still too young." Haruki couldn't refuse, so he worked all day until the sun dipped behind the horizon. His hands were covered with calluses, but his heart rejoiced. He had helped someone in need. But the next day, Oki returned. "You helped me once, so you can help me again," she said, as if it was expected. "I'm sorry, Oki, but I have much work to do on my own field," Haruki replied. The woman frowned. "So your kindness was only for show? How can a good person refuse a widow?" The villagers began to whisper, "Is this the same Haruki who used to help everyone? He has become selfish." The old man was surprised. He had helped once, yet now they expected him to help forever. One day, bandits came to the village. They demanded gold and rice, but the village elders stepped forward and firmly said, "We will not give you anything. Leave now." The bandits were about to leave when Haruki stepped forward. "Wait. If they are hungry, perhaps we should give them some food." The elder looked at him in outrage, but Haruki was already bringing a sack of rice. The bandits took the food, laughing as they left. A month later, they returned. "Where is the kind old man?" the leader sneered. "We know he will feed us again." Haruki refused this time. The bandits grew angry. They set fire to the house and took the rest of his supplies. As the farmer watched the flames consume his roof, a painful realization struck him. His kindness had not changed the bandits, but had only made them stronger. Years passed. One day, a young man named Kenji arrived in the village. He was pale, his clothes were torn, and his eyes pleaded for help. "Please help me," he cried, as soon as he saw Haruki. The old man couldn't ignore him. He took Kenji in, gave him food, warm tea, and a place to stay for the night. The next day, Kenji shared his story. "I'm being hunted. I accidentally offended a nobleman, and now his men want to kill me." Haruki took pity on the young man and hid him in his home. A few days later, samurai arrived in the village. Their leaders sternly demanded, "A criminal is hiding in this house. If anyone is sheltering him, they will be punished as well." Haruki couldn't betray the young man. He stepped outside and firmly said, "There are no criminals in this house." The samurai frowned, but did not harm him. A few days later, Kenji packed his belongings. "Thank you for everything, old man. You were a kind person." But as he left, the samurai caught him. Then Kenji suddenly pointed a trembling finger at Haruki and shouted, "This old man sheltered me." Time seemed to slow. Haruki couldn't believe the betrayal of the one he had helped. I didn't want to die, Kenji whispered. Forgive me. The samurai arrested Haruki for harboring a fugitive. As they led him away, the villagers watched in silence. Those who had once respected him now avoided his gaze. No one stood up for him. Fear of the authorities was stronger than gratitude. He was thrown into a dungeon, where he spent days lost in thought. He did not hate Kenji. The young man had only been trying to save his own life, but bitterness settled in his heart. One day, an old friend, the merchant Hideo, came to the prison. He had managed to negotiate Haruki's release. As the guards opened the door, Hideo said quietly, You have always helped others, but where are they now? Where is the one you gave shelter to? Where are those you have helped all these years? Haruki remained silent. The world is unfair, my friend, Hideo continued. Your kindness did not protect you. It made you vulnerable. People often mistake kindness for weakness and do not appreciate it until it is gone. Haruki nodded. Does this mean I was a fool? Should I have walked past like everyone else? Hideo shook his head. No, but now you understand the true cost of kindness. Do good with wisdom, not with naivety. Not everyone who asks for help deserves it, and not everyone you help will remember you in your time of need. Haruki thought deeply. He left the prison as a changed man. He no longer rushed to help everyone blindly. Instead, he looked deeper. Who is this person? What kind of life do they live? Will my kindness lead to my own ruin? Years passed, and the village no longer saw him as the naive old man he once was. He still helped others, but now with wisdom and caution. From that time on, Haruki was no longer just a kind man. He was a man whose kindness had grown stronger, because now it was given only to those who truly deserved it.